Welcome back to the Mr. Gloat podcast. Today is the first day of July, and today we are welcoming you guys 4 days away from the 4th of July, the 250th birthday of the United States. Technically, guys, I'm only going to release 40 minutes of a podcast video for the next few days right now. And as we are looking up information, here's the information. Here's the information that we do have to understand as we speak. So I'm going to take some time off from doing some boxing videos. The FIFA World Cup, we're only a few weeks away, and after Japan lost against Brazil, in a tough battle, of course, but of course it still upsets me that Asia cannot beat South America, or even, actually Japan did defeat Germany 4 years ago, but of course it wasn't good enough for them to, it was good enough for them to make it the finals, but not have a 3-0 record. But still, it just goes to show you that all these other countries can sometimes score out crazy victories against these other countries that are good, but they can't do better all the time. It's like you can have one good game against a tough country, but then the next game you can have a great battle with Brazil and then you still lose at the end. It kind of stinks. It is what it is. But before we get to it, guys, here's the information we want to talk about. So this episode is going to be another 40-minute video. I'm just going to start making out short videos, not just because I still have some gigabytes on my phone, been playing video games for a while, but, of course, we are trying our best to fix some stuff here. But speaking about Germany, Paraguay, out of nowhere, Paraguay. Okay, so here's the thing. Brazil came out a crazy dominance. Don't get me wrong. Even though Brazil had to earn their victory against Japan when Japan scored an early goal around 29 minutes in the first half, and then they scored a goal in 56, and then they scored a goal in 95 minutes. Coming to the end of the game, or else they would have went overtime. So Brazil had to earn that victory, but it still upsets me that it still upsets me that they effed up the last minute of that match for no reason. It's like, why are these Asian people and North Americans, why do they stink? Why are they not good? It doesn't make sense. But surprisingly, Paraguay, considering how Paraguay scored a 42-minute goal against Germany, and then in the second half at 54 minutes, Germany went back, and then they did the full 120 minutes to do penalty kicks. Paraguay scored their first 3 goals. Germany missed their first kick, but got the other 2. Missed their fourth kick to be a 2-3 score until Paraguay missed their fourth kick. So it was like 3-2. Paraguay missed their 5th one, and then Germany scored their 3rd. So they went to overtime for extra penalty kicks after 5 out of 5. But it wasn't good enough for Germany. They missed their 6th kick, and Paraguay scored out their 6th goal to make it 4-3 in penalty kicks to defeat Germany. So that's good. Speaking about good, Morocco is back. Surprisingly, the South African country of Morocco came out of nowhere against Netherlands last time after on the 29th of June, which same day, Brazil defeated Japan, Paraguay, and Germany. Still, I wish Japan and Paraguay and Morocco all beat those tough countries, but 2 out of 3 is better than nothing. But still, Morocco had to earn their victory. They scored a late goal at 91 minutes to tie it 1-1 and went to penalty kicks at the 120-minute mark. Netherlands scored their first. Morocco missed, but they got to 2 and 3. And Netherlands missed their second, but got third, so they were tied 2-2 after three penalty kicks. Both countries missed their 4th kick, but after their 5th and final penalty kick, Netherlands missed their number 5, and Morocco scored their 5th to make it 3-2, and they're in the round of 16. So, hey, not bad. On June the 30th, Norway came out of nowhere around 39 minutes to score a goal. Ivory Coast scored on 74 minutes, but 12 minutes later at the 86-minute mark, Norway scored 2 to make it to the round of 16. France, on the other hand, their captain, Mbappe, scored goal number 45 and 74. Another friend of theirs scored 53 to defeat Sweden 3-0. Mexico went on early in the game with a 22 and a 31-minute 2 goals against Ecuador to make it to the round of 16. England... Okay, so now that's the end of that stuff. And then we go to July the 1st, as of today. England scored late goals with the guy named Kane, who is not the Big Red Monster Machine from Knoxville County. He scored two late goals around 75 and 86 minutes since the Democratic of the Republican of our Congo scored an early goal at 7 minutes, but he came back with two goals to help his team make it to the round of 16. As of right now, Belgium and Senegal are performing at 1 p.m. right now as we speak, and I'm going to try to find reports about that because the match is starting right now and it might be coming to an end as we speak, so we'll try to wait for updates. Oh, yeah, and by the way, United States is taking on Bosnia of Herzegovina, and if United States fails, this will be the worst of all time, depending how they lose. Because the United States, they're only 3 days away from their birthday. So if they don't defeat Bosnia, this is just going to be the worst forever of the United States here. And I'm going to berate about it for a long time. And it's crazy. And of course, I'm going to talk about soccer because I'm already going to talk about my topic about soccer. So keep that in mind. Okay, so 16 on kickoff. Just trying to find information for their lineups. Again, so they're on the day 1 hour, 1 minute, and 25 seconds until kickoff at the 1600 day mark. So I guess the game has not started, even though they said that the game is starting at 1 p.m. on UTC 7 time, so it's not Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so that's my bad. So United States will play later on in the night, so okay. But yeah, we do have these other countries. Dude, if Argentina defeats Cape Verde, that's the end. It really is. Like, Argentina... So here's the thing we have to know. So, all right, where's France? France. Okay, so France is taking on Paraguay in Philadelphia on the 4th. Canada versus Morocco, which will be a great match to watch, which will be amazing to see one of those two countries make it to the qualifying of round of 8. If Paraguay defeats France, which I hope, even though I am a Frenchman, Canadian, not France, Canadian, just hope that one of Canada or Morocco will take on Paraguay in the quarterfinals and not France, and maybe Canada, depends, and maybe they'll make it to quarterfinals, or maybe Paraguay will come out of nowhere and make an unbelievable underdog story. By the way, where's Paraguay from? I want to know what country they're from. They're from South Africa. Oh, great. Well, that stinks. No way that... Okay. So Paraguay, also a South African country as well, are also taking on France. So technically, this will be crazy if they defeat France, and then we'll have one of these other countries other than Canada, Morocco, or Paraguay make it out to the quarterfinals, and then they'll make it to the semifinals. And, okay, so that might be great. But something tells me France are just going to get these two victories. If they defeat Paraguay in Philadelphia on the July the 4th, they're going to Foxborough for the quarterfinals against Canada or Morocco. And I don't know. Something tells me they're going to slide into victory in these finals and then just win it all. And I don't know. It stinks. It really does. And even though you have Brazil taking on Norway on the 5th, Mexico and England. Again, Argentina might defeat Cape Verde, and Australia might defeat Egypt. One of them will be in the round of 16, and maybe Argentina might win. And if that's so, well, Switzerland or Colombia or any of these other, Algeria, Ghana, who knows who's going to fight and make it to the round of quarterfinals to take on, I'm assuming, Argentina, and maybe they might win, and maybe they might get some shots. So, again, or if Argentina and Brazil make it to the semifinals, one of them has to make it to the finals, and maybe there's something here. But the only thing I'm just still upset about is I don't want a South African country or a European country to make it to the semifinals. We've seen that over 95% since 1930 to 2022. Only non-European or non-South African countries have made to the semifinals 3 times. And that was the United States from North America in 1930, the inaugural season. 2002, South Korea from Asia. 2022, Morocco from South Africa. United States got bronze, and South Korea and Morocco, they got 4th, losing their last matches from semifinals to the bronze medalist. And none of them made to the finals, but again, only those are the 3 times that non-South African European countries made it. So if we're just going to see the same thing, just European and South African countries fighting in the FIFA, and then 4 years later in their 100th anniversary, which something tells me that the United States are going to fail to qualify, then that right there solidifies that this is just a waste of time for watching soccer and FIFA. But that's just 20% of the reason why I hate FIFA or soccer. I'll get to the other 80% in just a moment. But again, it just makes you wonder. There has to be something good here, but again, I just can't say it. It's crazy. But anyway, it's been 10 minutes, so let's talk about something for another 10 minutes to talk about here. Like I said, this is just going to be a short video. I'm going to try to edit this as quick as I can, upload it today or maybe tomorrow on the 2nd of July. And then on the 3rd of July, I'm going to record the record of the 250th anniversary of the Independence Day of the United States' birthday. So I'm going to record that on the 3rd just to celebrate stuff here, this or that. And I'm not going to talk about what I'm going to talk about. It's just going to be another short video, just nothing to do with boxing or combat sports. But I am going to try to get to a combat sports as best I could, as long as I stop itching my nose. But anyway, let's just talk about something else. Okay, so let's just talk about professional boxing. Before we talk about the reasons why I hate soccer, let's just talk about what we're going to talk about now. So 15 minutes ago, YouTube channel Ring Magazine posted another post, stated July is stacked with some big title fights and matchups. Which fights are you most looking forward to? Presented by Jeddah Season. So on July the 4th, we have Abdullah Mason versus Albert Bell for the WBO lightweight title. Bruce Carrington versus Rene Palacio for the WBC featherweight. And then we have to wait 16 days on July the 20th when Kenshiro Taraji versus Israel Gonzalez, which I did not know that there's going to be a super flyweight title. So Kenshiro will fight for a super flyweight title, which he should have won it last year ago in December. And we would have had a fight with him and Jesse Rodriguez, but never happened. And surprisingly, 4 days later, on the 24th, we're going to have Tyson Fury coming back, taking on former contender and Polish boxer Mariusz Wach, who is not in his good prime anymore. Same with Tyson, but Tyson is better than him. So, but still, as a former title contender, that would still be an interesting fight for all to see. So I don't think it's going to be a waste. I've already talked about the Kristen Panga versus Anthony Joshua. Maybe they should have brought in the undefeated Albanian fighter, the Albanian Eagle himself, Nelson Heisa, but who knows? We're also going to have Earl Spence versus Tim Tsuzu, which, yes, that's going to be around the time with Jarrell Miller taking on a nobody. On the 26th, we're going to have Edgar Berlanga versus Stephen Butler. And then that same day, we're going to have Richard Hitchens versus Ricardo Salas. So, yeah, I would say they've fallen to disrepair, but it's great to see that we still have some of these heavyweight fighters that are still in boxing, and maybe there might be some good here. I am going to review out the Mason and the Carrington featherweight and lightweight title fights. But also after we're done with the 250th anniversary episode and then reviewing the fights that happened on the 4th of July, which will be maybe on the 5th, I'll record. I am actually now going to do the autumn weight division for women's boxing. I'm going to review each episode for their belts from the 4 majors and such. And how am I going to do that? Well, technically, it's not hard for me to talk about this because it's like as of I'm recording this today, this is episode 1 for July and 250th anniversary, these title fights on the 4th of July. I might have 4 out. Yeah, there is some good weights. That's going to take a long way to go through the half of this month. And then maybe, dang, that's like 7 episodes on there? Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, so I might take almost a little bit of a more time to actually record more episodes this month, which is crazy. Because I promised to do like 10 episodes every month, but it seems like I'm over doing half of them this month. Crazy. I might get through maybe doing 11 or 12 episodes this month. Crazy. Crazy. Now, we'll see when that comes. But anyway, technically the only fight on this card is Earl Spence and Tim Tsuzu. Like, I would like to see Kenshiro Teraji in his 3rd weight class. Interesting. I would still watch the heavyweight fights and talk about them. But again, how many fans would even enjoy watching this? Again, who knows? But again, we're just going to have to wait for that to happen. As of right now, we have Brian Norman, who is saying that he is going to fight Keyshawn Davis, where they have a gateway for a title shot here. We have reports today that they might actually have a title shot. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Today, we also have Denzel Bentley, who is upset with the WBO that he has to wait for Yanabek, former WBA middleweight champion, but still a WBO champion, who has failed a drug test last year ago after his failed to, to take on, he was supposed to fight a good, tough competitor last time who was past his prime, but that never happened. So it is what it is. As of today, we also have reports that Ajit Caballel, who is now the WBC heavyweight champion, respects Usyk's decision to open to fighting Fury or Joshua. Ajit states that he's ready to take on comers that now he holds the belt, even his own father. After being evaluated to it, Caballel states by the ring, stating, quote, "For me, it's no problem. I'll fight anyone. I was the hunter, but now they're hunting me. But that's no problem. They can come. I'll wait. Let's go. Tyson Fury called me out, so why not? I have respect for him. He's my big brother. So if he says, Ajit, I want your belt, I'll say, no problem. Brother, we will make the fight." Tyson says, "Let's go, you little sausage. You're a bum." And before you know it, for me, that's no problem. I'll fight anyone, brother. My father called me out for my belt. I'd fight him. You'd fight your father? Dang, that's cold. This is different. This is the hard way. And we will take so many risks for that belt. Now, I'm in the best situation. Whoever's the number 1 challenger, I'll fight him. When he's ready, Ajit, hope to become world champion by dethroning Usyk himself. He traveled to Egypt, the Ukrainian surprisingly difficult fight with Verhoeven on the 23rd of May, in a bid to force the issue. And now look where he is. With everything going on, with the fights, life is crazy. You can't say this, man. Because I have won 27 times in my career. These were hard fights. Now I can go into a title defense, and it's the same situation. It's an unbelievable feeling, and this is an underdog story. On the unfruitful negotiations with Team Usyk, he added, we were talking, tracking, whatever the heck this word says, with Usyk's team about a potential fight in Germany, but the problem was that we talked so much without reaching a deal. The rest of everything else going on here, talking to Sergey Lapine, talking to this, talking to that. You're 39 years old. Maybe you should quit. Whatever. At this moment, there's just nothing much here. There's just nothing much to talk about because there's just so much weird information going on here that it just makes me seem like there's just so much ridiculousness happening here that I just can't talk much about this because this is the most ridiculous stuff I've ever heard because, like, of course Adjit might fight Fury because they were promising the fight in 2020 and then, of course, Wilder messed all that up, but not bad. Also, there was a guy that did made a comment on the Ring magazine about this article, and he stated, his name is Alligator, pretty awesome name there, quote, "Don't count on this, Adjit. Joshua will fight pregnant Pranga, and Fury will fight Chisora. Fury will fight Chisora for the 8th time. Why not fight Wilder?" I just question that. Technically, we'll never know. But anyway, that's about it. It's crazy enough. We also have William Zepeda taking on Lamont Roach and see if Zepeda can actually do a better fight with Lamont Roach after Lamont already had 2 fights that are tied. Who knows? Who knows? The WBO orders Haney to face Keyshawn Davis to set for the deadline on July the 20th. And with everything going on here from this entire show, we also have the IBF that orders Frank Sanchez to face Moses Atama for the vacant IBF heavyweight champion until Moses takes on Filip Hrgovic, which they state that fight's coming. So if Hrgovic can do a good job showing signs of deadliness against Hrgovic, that might prove a lot. Because since Frank Sanchez defeated Richard Torres in a 2-round knockout, and he would have been a good favorite to take on Moses Atama and fight for a heavyweight champion for the United States, but now we have Atama and Sanchez. So he wins, that's good. The thing is, if Frank Sanchez defeats Moses Atama, which is possible, he could be the first Cuban boxer to become heavyweight champion. If Moses Atama wins, not only he'll be one of the top 3 youngest heavyweight champions and the youngest British champion, but the first ever boxer born, and when I say born, he wasn't born in the UK because his father was Nigerian, but his mother was Slovakian. So, and of course, him and his parents and his kids and his brothers and sisters were born in Slovakia before they moved out from other country to go to the UK. So this might be the first Slovakian boxer born in Slovakia to become heavyweight champion. So we're looking at 2 countries that could be in the best career of their life. It's like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Joseph Parker was a New Zealand-born Samoan type fighter taking on Andy Ruiz, who was the first Mexican boxer, and both of them were fighting for their first champion in their country. Joseph won, and of course, a couple years and a half years later, Andy Ruiz went on and won his belts as well. So that's what we're looking here. It's been almost 10 years, and that's crazy. Anyway, let's talk about the last fights of the shows. Jaron Ennis defeats Alexander Zayas after knocking him down multiple times and goes to round 7 to win by knockout. Valenzuela defeats Santos in a 2-round KO fight, which was a pretty good fight for what it was, by a knockout. Sandoval gets a great majority win against a guy named Lee about sometime on the 28th that same day. But again, with all this going on, what about the other fights on the show? Technically, with everything going on here, we also have Joe Joyce, who is taking on a 14-0 fighter named Soslenkov. Joe Joyce is coming back, and again, if Soslenkov does not defeat Joyce, this Russian boxer is done for. Who knows? We also have reports that Christian Mbili is going to take on Canelo Alvarez on October the 31st. So there's going to be another fight that's going to be interesting to talk about. We also have something on July the 14th where we have some fresh blood going on here, where we have surprising fights going on here, because not only we have July the 14th where we have boxer Tatsumi in the super featherweight taking on a guy named Juan, which will take place in the Kirkwood Hall on July the 14th. So good luck for Tatsumi, and wish him best of luck for a great victory if he does win. But we also have, on July the 11th, we have Murat Gassiev taking on Tony Yoka for 12 rounds for the WBA World Heavyweight Champion, regular heavyweight champion. And they believe that this might promote one of these guys for a WBA Super Heavyweight Championship belt. So Murat Gassiev could be one of the few boxers to win legit Russian champions. And Tony Yoka, if Tony Yoka can survive this, because Tony Yoka's last two professional fights might not have been that much to talk about, because his career felt so bad since having his 3 professional losses become that legit bad. But we're just going to have to wait and see how good he might come forward. And because his last 3-4 victories were tough enough, from taking on nobodies in 2024 just to defeat Arslan Yalyev, a 16-0 fighter, take on Patrick Cordy in December last year by first round knockout. Now he's taking on Gassiev. So maybe these last wins he had last year ago might up his ante. He was going to take on Lawrence O'Connell, but now he's fighting for a heavyweight champion. This might bring out France to give them an opportunity. And I'm surprised that they're giving Tony Yoka this opportunity. And I hope he's not doing drugs. So good luck with him. So with all that being said, there's other fights on the show and other stuff going on, but that's all the information I have for now. For ranked boxers and everything else, this will be a great opportunity for new heavyweight boxers to take the stage and prove their worth. And we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Oh, and by the way, there is one more information I want to talk about before we get to the soccer. Damian Neba is going to take on Kapker Mena on October the 3rd for the Republican of the Poland heavyweight title on October the 3rd. This will be a great fight for him to get back his victory. He's ranked number 44, while Kapker is ranked number 40. So, and that pro defeat for... I still write it off for Damian Neba that the fight was stopped really early in the fight with him and Cabiella last January. And yes, Mark Leisen was the referee that night in Germany, so who knows? So we can write that off as Damian just got unlucky for being in Cabello's country. So we'll just have to wait and see. So now, with all that being said, and with only 10 minutes left, I'm only going to talk for 10 minutes about this. This is the part I really hate. The reason... See, this is why I don't like soccer. Soccer is the worst sport because men are tougher than women. Men can put their bodies... They can know how to curve a soccer ball right to the goal as best they could, while a woman can't do squat. Yes, women can be professionally good, but not in their own rights because they don't have their body physiques. Us men are bigger and stronger, and even grown women that are fully grown, and even you're looking at kids that are junior or even middle school kids or maybe almost high school kids that are all boys can outdo the grown adult women. Like, there was a time that I actually heard a report that Alicia Lehman and her team were taking on a bunch of junior boys and they dominated them for no reason. And it's so bad that when you look up videos titled girls versus boys soccer, it's so terrible that you have to understand the fortitude of horrible competition. Because the part is, it's so bad that even though participation rates states on the summary here on Yahoo states that boys soccer often was highly participant rates, but girls soccer is rapidly growing. That doesn't mean nothing, because here's the thing. Us men have been playing sports before the Olympic Games started in 1896. We were just wearing sheepskin trunks and other stuff. Women were at home cooking out, doing the chores, doing this or that, and before they started voting and voting as real citizens. So, but again, it's been over hundreds of years since then. Don't get me wrong, women do have talent. Women have talent to become great poker players and try to outdo men, and there have been great winners in the WSOP of World Series of Poker where women do good against men. Maybe not all the time. There was a female Canadian woman named Christian Fox who has done surprisingly well winning chips. A Japanese woman has become a two-time female winner and three times from finishing first and second through 2 out of 3 times in her division of women, and she might win at poker, and I've been wishing her luck for a poker bracelet this year. And even in professional bowling, after the PWBA was dead in 2003, women didn't know what to do anymore other than play against the men. Liz Johnson proved herself to play against the men and did it. Kelly Kulick did it in the TOC of 2010 and became the first and still the only woman to become a major in the men's. Liz Johnson did it 7 years later in the Shark or the Chameleon World Series of Bowling. Daniel McEwen did it in out of the country of PBA and won a couple tournaments, which should be legit tournaments. So, yeah, there has been provabilities that they are great bowlers and other successors, which are proved to be tough. But that's the problem. The problem betwixt poker and bowling is that you don't have... the reason why I love bowling and poker is that it's not a team thing. Depending if it's a marriage thing, where a husband and wife or somewhere friends are in the poker table and they're trying to cheat to take someone's money away, then that's... But that's not the thing. The thing is, it's not about throwing a punch or doing this or that, or a man dressing up like a woman, or having a bloke beating a woman in a boxing match, which let's not talk about the Paris Olympic Games about that. And again, but when you're looking at team sports, from soccer to football to baseball, maybe softball, it's not understandable to understand that. Now, don't get me wrong, I have played soccer, and there were times that we have played art varsity or unified varsity soccer back in the days, where varsity soccer, where you were allowed to bring boys and girls were allowed to be together as a team and then play against other players as team as a varsity team, which that's fine. That's okay. It still makes the sport even. It's almost like if you're playing cricket. If it's a mixed team, yeah, you can play sports in cricket to be a mixed team. It's not bad. But again, it's not that hard to understand. Because when you're playing with men versus women and you have that, it just upsets me. It just makes me into a misogynist type person. And I didn't know what misogynist was until a few months later. And now I know what it is. And now I realize why it's hard for me to be with women as much, because of stuff like this. It's sports. So it's a horrific understanding. And here's the problem. Speaking about FIFA World Cup and why Japan and Asia losing against Brazil just a couple of days ago was the worst thing, why it's hard for the United States or North America to not do squat against men. But when you watch the FIFA Women's World Cup, which is going to happen next year, American women, Asian women are on top. Brazilian women just like to show their bubble butts, and they just can't even make it to the finals or win against those other teams. Germany is the only country to have men and women to become World Cup winners. And they hold the record for the most as a gender. The thing is, that's the problem. Men in the USA can't do squat, women can, but us men can do better than women, and that's just like, why throw a towel? Why spend money on watching this? It's almost like how back in the day when NCAA football players could play against the NFL winners back in the day with NFL players, and the NCAA players were good, better than NFL players, because there were no such thing as having black athletes playing in the NFL, but college football. And technically, Jackie Robinson, before he became a ball player in baseball, he was a football player, and they credited him as being one of the fast runners. But when they hired to be allowed to put black athletes in the NFL, they started getting better. And then football players and college players were having controversy. And then the last time they ever did a NFL versus NCAA thing is when a huge weather storm took place and horde riots, and the game was canceled, and they never did another sport like that again. So I'm expecting something tragic to happen. Like one day, someone is gonna start booing out to the audience that women suck, this or that, and then we're just gonna have people gouging their eyes out. Like we're 20 minutes into a 90-minute match against men versus women, and men have already scored 10 goals, and it's like, what's the point of watching this? It's like, yes, men aren't hurting the women. The men are being nice to the women. They're not tripping. They're not hurting them. Women can't do squat, and then you're just gonna have a bunch of this or that and riots. And I'm expecting that stuff to happen because it's a sport that's so violent. The fans get into it too deeply. You have two countries playing in a world of sports. You have other countries on one side of the stadium and the other on the other side. You can have a riot fighting any moment now as I'm talking about this. And there might be a riot going on where the United States are losing against Bosnia as we're speaking, and we're having a riot of why are Americans the worst in history and why we can't handle taking on a country that's not good, and we can't even play against the best countries for no reason. Like, why is that the case? It just goes to show you how destructible and how hard it is to understand that. And you just have women soccer players doing a great job. But again, I don't like watching genders taking on other genders. It's not. We know the outcome. We know the tragic, and it's going to cause so much problem. We're just going to have massacres and bloody people dying over this stuff, and it's a bunch of misogynistic problems. It's just going to cause problems, and it's the worst. I do not want to promote male versus female sports competing against each other. It's not the case to be washable to it. And when you add all those ingredients up and the stuff why I don't like soccer, that's the problem. But the reason I'm reviewing this stuff is because I'm waiting for an underdog story. Just like how I supported Morocco 4 years ago, because when Morocco came out of nowhere, and even after I heard that Morocco was a South African country, I was throwing all my poker chips at them to wish them luck because they might do the unthinkable. Like when the round of 16 came last year, 4 years ago, it was crazy. Morocco were coming in. They barely defeated Spain after being in the penalty kick, and they were scoring goals, and Spain weren't. They barely squeaked on, defeating Portugal in the quarterfinals in a 42-minute match until they lost against France, and then Argentina defeated Croatia, former silver medalists, against France, and they effed up. And then Croatia and Morocco were scoring goals at each other in the semis of the third-place finals, but Croatia won the whole thing, and France and Argentina had a battle in the finals. Yeah, great. That's what you get for being with Lionel Messi from Argentina and France player Mbappe. It's like we can't find star players like that, but France and Argentina has, and they're both from different continents that have dominated the FIFA, and they always will be. That's just a problem, and I just can't relate to that stuff. And it really stinks to see like Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe do great in soccer, and it stinks that we can't find those great players to be with, and it's really that terrible to look forward to because it's like there's just no point of watching it. And it makes sense why people don't watch female FIFA World Cup, and every time I go online and tell people about it or everyone else, people just ignore it because it's just women players. It's not a men's sport, it's women that we're playing with, and it's just a waste of time. It's like people don't want to watch the female women's World Cup. And it's even terrible because if we're trying to watch the Professional Bowling Association for women's bowling of the WPBA, we can't find it unless if you have to buy money to watch Bowl TV. And the quality is so terrible, it's like watching a 1980s. It's like watching a live stream YouTube video. It's just a waste of time. It's not like watching 1980s or 90s candlepin bowling. It's horrible. So yeah, it just goes to show you how the world is changing so bad, and it's just terrible. But all in all, we're just got to wait and see. I'm still going to look forward to see these other countries. I wish best of luck for Paraguay, Canada, Morocco, and also Croatia. Yes, they're a part of the Croatia are only part of the, they're part of Europe, but still. And same for Portugal, who are part of well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. With everything going on, everything else, I wish best of luck for any of these other countries to make it to the semifinals. And even if they don't make it to the finals or don't win, still making it to the semifinals, I'm satisfied with. And that's it. And if Mexico does defeat Canada and come out of nowhere against Brazil after Brazil defeats Norway and Mexico does the unthinkable, who knows what's going to happen in the semifinals? Or what if Canada, Paraguay defeats France, and then Canada, Morocco fight, and then we'll have any of those other countries fight in the quarterfinals, and they make it to the semifinals. Imagine what's going to happen there. Well, we might see, who knows? We might see USA get lucky. We might see Spain that might make it. Maybe Belgium might make it to the semifinals and win. Maybe we might see Brazil, or maybe not Brazil. Maybe Brazil, maybe Argentina, or any other countries can make it. It's just, we have to knock these players out, and I hope I hope Cape Verde defeats Argentina 2 days from now, and we wish them best of luck, because luck is all you need to make it to the tournaments, to the finals, and that's that. But anyway, guys, we're gonna have to wait for information on that. We'll see you guys in a couple days, a few days from now. A couple of days, I'm going to record the next episode on the 3rd of July for the 250th anniversary of the United States. With that being said, we'll see you next time.